Well, big week for us. We got three road games coming up here in a row, so we got to kind of switch modes for a lot of the things that we're doing and get into travel mode and get into the road warrior kind of mentality. To go down, obviously, will be a little bit different. There'll be some fans in the stands, but the last time we were down at UCF, it was a crazy environment, and so without the true crazy environment, it's going to be a emotional game. After what we did last year and had the ability to pull it out there at the end of the game, I know that they've been kind of waiting for this, and this is a great opportunity for two of the more talented teams in our league to play. And UCF to me has been the most talented team in the league since I've been in the league. So I think our guys understand that. They understand that from the last three times we played them, especially the older guys, and what to expect. So it's a big week. It's a really tough one to kind of prepare for because of the speed and the tempo of things. But it's good that we've actually played them a few times and have a better grasp of what to expect, at least from the speed and tempo wise.
Oh, no questions. Chad, why don't you lead us off?
How do you handle knowing that they're going to be, you've used redemption on your side. They're going to be looking for the same. How do you handle with the guys that, being able to play through maybe that first real wave of energy that they bring out?
No, it'll be one of those things that we've got to be able to handle. There's going to be a lot of flows of the game, and they're going to take a lot of shots. And I don't just mean that offensively. I mean that in general. That your ability in a big game to handle the emotions of the roller coaster ride is really critical for us because the tempo of the game and the pace of the game is going to be fast. And I think that if you let your emotions based on one or two plays or big plays or whatever happens early on get to you, it's going to be really difficult to recover. And I think that's where they've done such a phenomenal job, is when they do have the ability to jump on people, it's hard for people to recover. But I think that's something that we got to be able to understand. We know what we're walking into, and the reality is they still have a championship and we don't. So it's not like we think that we're something different. This is Memphis won a championship last year. They've won the championship the few years before that. It's still they're still in a better place than we are, and our job is to get to where they have been, and we haven't done that yet.
You mentioned how they play fast, and that's kind of what everyone knows about their offense, but they're top ranked in college football this year. What are they doing different, or what are they doing particularly well that they'd be able to have success this season specifically?
Their ability to have big plays in the run game. I think they have done a really good job at kind of refining a little bit of their run game, really sticking to it, and have made bigger plays. Everybody knows about the shots down the field. Everybody knows about the quarterback and the wide receivers, but their ability to make some big plays in the run game, to me, is where they're different offensively in all that I've seen from them in the last 3 years.
You had the element of surprise a little bit with the 3-3-5 last year. How do you combat now that there's a lot of that on tape and they've been able to see not only in person but on tape how you guys run the defense now?
I think we just got to play it better. I mean, it is what it is. Every week you have little wrinkles and little things and things you try to change up. But I mean, again, they've seen a lot of it. I think they've seen it a lot in our league. They saw it in the first game of the year. So it's not like it's something that's brand new. Obviously, it was a little bit newer for us last year when we did it. But it's not something that's brand new to them and these offenses in particular. So I think that's, no matter what, it's going to come down to who can execute, who can eliminate big plays or who can make big plays, who can execute and who can win in space.
I assume you don't have any interest in sharing what some of those wrinkles might be with us.
No. It's still early yet. We don't even know what those wrinkles are. Sometimes like I said, sometimes you can get too far ahead of yourself when the realities of it. You just got to do what it is that you do better than what they do, and that's not easy. So we got our hands full. We got a long week ahead of us, and ability to go on the road, which we've only done once this year, and make sure that we do all the little things we need to do to give us a chance to continue to do what we have done so far.
Does the way your offense has scored points and played the past few weeks. Does that change the way you game plan heading into it, whether it's defensively and some of the chances you might take or just in general when you're kind of laying out the game plan?
No. I mean, I think that what it does, like anything, it gives you confidence. If you're a guy on defense, you know you've got incredible confidence because of what your offense has done. I've always said it, when you've got a quarterback, it gives everybody around him confidence. And when your quarterback's playing well, it gives everybody around him confidence. It's not just the offense, it's not just the defense. But I think in general, for you to continue to have success, for us to continue to have success, it's not that we're going to change what it is we do. We're not going to rely and say, well, okay, our defense has done a really good job, so we can play different offensively. Our offense has done a really good job, so we can play different defensively. The reality is we got to be able to feed off each other. We got to be able to play all three phases of the game, and we got to gain a lot of confidence from each other. And I think that's where we are right now, and it's why we've had success.
Luke, talk about your impressions of Dylan Gabriel.
He's really good. Obviously, last year as a true freshman, he did a phenomenal job. I think he's better than he was last year, and he's unique. And the quarterbacks in this system since I've been in it have been really, really good. And I mean, their ability to play at the speed they play and make the decisions that they make are really, really unique to me. Today, a lot of times you're trying to get a good read if you're a quarterback and, okay, what's the tell? Where's the coverage going? This, that, and the other thing. And they do it really well, or Gabriel does it extremely well at a pace that not many people in college football do it.
I'm curious, you opened the game on Friday with the pass to Ethan Wright. I'm curious what the story behind that play call was.
You'd have to ask Coach Denbrock and them. I mean, to be honest, we want to be able to move it around. And I think that we want to give guys opportunities that deserve opportunities. And Ethan has done an unbelievable job. It just happened to be the first play of the game. He obviously had another one, I think, later in the game. But he's another one of those guys that has done a great job special teams-wise and everything he's done. So there's opportunities out there for a lot of those guys.
You were able to heat Gabriel up a little bit last year and force some mistakes, but I don't think he's thrown an interception this year in 5-6 games. What are you seeing from him that has allowed him to kind of remove that from his the way he's been playing?
Well, another year in the system. Obviously, he was a true freshman last year, so as good as he was, there were going to be mistakes, especially at the pace at which they go. But I think they've got a unique ability. Obviously, he's grown, understanding the offense and doing what they do, maybe a little bit sharper and smarter in taking the shots that when they're there. And then also, I think they do a great job in the back end. I'm talking about offensively. If the ball isn't in a great position for them, they kind of turn themselves into a defender and they help their quarterback out. So all in all, I think they've done a phenomenal job offensively, as the stats will show. But I think that there's some other things that people probably aren't noticing as much as the ability to run the football and the ability to, like you say, play a little cleaner and eliminate the turnovers.
I realize you're going to hate this question, so just hang with me and try and grit through it. All this talk about style points when it comes to rankings and college football playoff. How do you feel about the style points discussion?
I mean, to me, style points are uniforms. Unfortunately, style points for, if you're really talking about what you're talking about in college football, it has too much to do with, the name on your chest and the history that you have. Yes, I understand that, playing well does a lot for you, and winning obviously is the number one thing. But people can talk about style points all they want. By nature, the blue bloods have style. And until we can get past all of that at some point in time, it's going to be what it is. So I don't buy into it a lot. I know this, and I'll always stick with it. No matter what the situation, you got to be playing your best ball to have a chance at the end. If you're not one of the top 6-7 teams with the history and are undefeated, you're going to have to be playing your best football at the end of the year. If that means you're winning big, it means you win big. You got some big games that you don't have to win huge. You just got to win, but you got to do it in a really good fashion, in a really clean fashion, in the way that your program can continue to do no matter who they're playing.
You just mentioned big games. Is this does this kind of stack up as maybe, I don't know, you probably won't answer this either,
No,
but
it's huge.
The biggest game of the year each year,
This is
just because
huge.
of the history with you two?
Yeah, no, this is a huge game. I just think because you can't take away from UCF has still been the most talented team in this league, and they have done an unbelievable job in this league. And for the most part, since I've been in it, obviously Memphis won last year, but it's had to go through UCF, and that's just a reality behind it. Now to go down there and to have the situation that we have, this is a huge game, and we've got to play really, really well on the road, in probably one of our toughest tests.
What did you learn maybe from your team on that road trip to SMU, and with the way that they handled that and played, and does any of that carry over?
Yeah, I think it does. I think the maturity behind our team is what gives us a better chance on the road. Obviously, there's so many different things in cities that you go to, especially this year with possibly different protocols and things like that, and how you handle them is going to be a big deal. I think at SMU playing late really, for some reason put us in a situation where we had to handle a lot of different things. This one is a 3:30 game, so maybe it's not quite as much of a sit around and expect to have as much maturity, but there's still different things in 2020 for whatever city you go to, and it gives us a chance because we've got a great group of older guys and seniors in particular that are really mature in handling all the different situations.
Anything on Ponder, Cook, or Bruno for this week?
All three of them are really tough kids, and I wouldn't count any of them out, to be honest with you. We don't know exactly where we are, but if you were saying that, hey, do all those guys have chances just because of their mentality? Now, obviously we got to be smart about what it is we're doing, and obviously the doctors and them can make some decisions, but those three guys are really, really tough dudes, physically, mentally, in all ways. So we're hoping that they maybe have a chance.
Hey, Luke, often we ask about players and their development, especially quarterbacks, what they've learned, how they improve during their time from a freshman to a senior year in that development. As a coach, do you develop, do you change? Have you changed at all in the way you approach big games from maybe as you were as your first year as a head coach to where you are now? Is there anything you've learned and anything you've gleaned over those few years that you changed the way you are now as a head coach?
No, but I think each and every year, based on what your team is and how they're made up, there's some different things that you do. I don't think there's a whole lot different in how you prepare. But every year you got a little bit of a different team. This is the most unique year in general with a lot of different things going on. So whether it's a huge game or it's not, there's a lot of things that this year has brought that I think will be uniquely different than any other year that I've coached. But yes, you continue to grow as a coach. If you don't, then you're not going to be successful. And that might mean in how you approach things, how it might mean in how you handle things. It doesn't mean a whole lot of the preparation, but there are uniquely different things that you got to be able to do based on where your team is and what your team needs. So there's not exact one way. I would hope and believe I have grown and we have grown, but it's still a big game, and it's still about the prep, and it's still about the work that you got to put in throughout the entire week.
To follow up on that, do you want your players then to embrace that big game feel now rather than just say it's another game?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta be prepared for what you're walking into, and we know that they've had this circled. There's no doubt about that. If it wasn't circled, it would have been circled just because of what we're coming down there with. And they've been the team of the league, and they know what it's like. They've had everybody that circled them on their schedule for the last 3 years. Our guys understand that. Our guys got to be able to handle that, and that's why it's exciting.
As you continue, Luke, to win games and the buzz continues to grow about UC nationally, you've mentioned the target that comes with that kind of attention. Have you noticed the target has changed with you guys? Have you noticed teams coming at you differently? Is that something tangible that you can actually feel?
I think you see it in the prep. I think you see it in sometimes the first series or so. But I think sometimes it's not just the record. Sometimes it's, we see things different defensively just because of the way our offense is playing. And I'm sure our offense sees some things differently just based on the way our defense is playing. UCF's a great example of that. I'm sure they see some different things each and every week, just not because, there's a big target on them, but because of, whether the way their offense is playing or the way their defense is playing. So I don't know if there's a ton of things different. I just know that guys are fired up. I think that you're going to see, people's best just because of the situation. But I would expect nothing different this week.
Can you talk a little bit about Darian Beavers and how he has developed throughout this season? It seems like week by week he looks like he's getting more confident, more comfortable where he's at. Yeah,
this is probably the first year that he's really played inside like this. And to not have spring ball, to have kind of a uniquely different camp, it takes time to grow and to really learn the position. Last year he played more the dollar. When he was at UConn, he was a defensive end. So he's played a lot of different spots. And, for a guy like him, missing out on spring ball, missing out on a lot of the camp stuff that we would have probably done a little bit different, has continued his growth process throughout the entire season. And that's what I think Coach Freeman and I'm proud of is if you really watch him even through the first 7 games, his development, he continues to grow. He continues to understand the position better. He continues to understand what it is he needs to do in particular at that position to be successful.
Is there anything to take away from the fact that he didn't walk on senior day?
Other than he didn't walk on senior day, I don't know. Maybe he was hurt. I don't know. He couldn't walk out there.
Okay.